Let's lighten things up a little bit, shall we? It is time for the Camaraderie Question of the Week. And this actually is kind of themed a little bit here with the story that I just told. Bosses build camaraderie on teams by making it easier for people to find things in common with each other. Every week we give you a question you can use at meetings to facilitate connection and build camaraderie. And Alyssa, the question of the week, Camaraderie Question of the Week, is this. What is the best piece of career advice you've ever been given?
Well, career advice. You know, it's so easy to go back and go, oh, all of the things that I wouldn't want to hear again, or the things that have negatively impacted me, because that's our human nature, right? I think that if I had to pinpoint it to one exclusive thing, and it wasn't by another boss, it was to me and hundreds of other, maybe thousands of other listeners on a podcast. But Robin Sharma said, and he's the author of I think it's the 5 a.m. Club, great book, but he says the door to success does not open outward. And to me, as a leader, as a boss, that no truer words exist. The door to success does not open outward. It's about going in. Yeah. What's in here? How are you going to look and examine and grow that? That's where it's at.
Ooh, that's deep.
It is deep. You know I like deep.
So what is the action that you take in the aftermath of hearing that kind of career advice, finding it to be profound? What's the next right thing to do?
So for me, whenever I hear that, the way that I internalize it and make it mine is I take a healthy look at, okay, what is it that makes me who I am to these folks, you know, in the workplace. So it's specific to the professional realm, if that's what we're going to examine it to, because I could go all ooey gooey wide with it too and make it all ushy squishy gray all over my life, you know.
If you float too high up into the mist and the vapor, I'll pull you back down.
The door could be open so wide, Joe. But if I'm going to look at it exclusively for my professional self, I'm going to think, okay, how is it that I'm showing up each day in the workplace, right? When folks look inside that door, when I open it up, what is it that they see? Mm-hmm. How is it that they are experiencing me? And for me to be able to show up from a place of leadership-driven values or values-based leadership that's where I got to start. That's where I always got to come back to. What am I doing to make sure that I am authentically upholding my values each and every day to make sure that I can lead the best way I possibly can?
Okay, follow-up question. Is that permitted?
I'll allow it.
Okay. You said, and I'm sorry if I get the wording wrong here, how do I make sure that I am authentically holding true to my values?
Yeah.
And I think I know what you mean by that. But I want to ask you about hold true to my values. Because I think for some folks, we go out into the world and into the workplace and we say, this is what's important to me. This is what matters. This is what I want to be about. And I am going to will that into being in the workplace. And in some ways, we end up with these leaders who become stubborn and ineffective, right? So let's look at this idea of hold true to our values. How do we do that and remain adaptable, flexible, responsive, and service-oriented in support of our teams?
It's a great question, you know, and interestingly enough, for me, I have always had the experience in the inverse of that. is to say that I have always given so much, and I know that there's a lot of you boss heroes out there that are going to feel this. You give so much that you don't know where your professional self starts and you end because you've allowed it to be who you are as part of your identity. And so there's no like escaping it, which is great and also not so great sometimes, right? So for me, the way that I experience that is this constant opportunity to balance, whether it's, okay, am I creating a boundary for myself or for others, or is that opening another door, right? So this rigidity that could be interpreted by setting down those values and only leading from that place. It has to be this thing that swings both sides. It's got to be on the whole spectrum. The door is, maybe it's a rotating door. I don't know.
Maybe it's like those little shutters at the saloon that flap both ways in the old Western movies.
Yes, that is it. That's what it is. Yes.
And we should all wear spurs to work. Okay.
Also true advice. That can't be the best advice that you were ever given, that wear spurs to work. So tell me, what is the best advice that you have ever been given?
I am in the aftermath of this really rich, profound sentence that you dropped on everybody. The path to, what was it? The path to?
The door to success.
The door to success.
Yes, does not open outward. Yeah.
It's so deep that I'm almost embarrassed to share mine because it is so stunningly inelegant.
Come on, Joe. No, you did the whole like stunningly amazing story at the front end of this. So we will let you slide on eloquence.
Then my favorite, best piece of professional advice I was ever given is don't shit where you eat.
So true.
But it's so true. Early in my career, I think it was my second year, there was an administrator where I worked who was this kind of persnickety. I had this history early in my career of working for some crabby old white guys, and they have their place and their virtues, but they were challenging in a lot of ways. But this gentleman, it wasn't Wayne, but this other person that I'm thinking about, this was one of those little nuggets that he threw out at somebody like in a hallway that I've always remembered. And it's true. And hey, don't shit where you eat, kid, and I cannot tell you the number of times in my professional career that has come back into my mind when I've thought about how I wanted to act or react to the kinds of invitations I would want to accept. I have been a part of a lot of professional organizations where people conference by day and get hammered by night. And, going like so the most direct example I can give is this idea that we conference by day and then at night we go and we live it up at happy hour and we hook up with people who are supposed to be in our professional circles. And, what if that's a person who has a hiring decision to make about you a couple of years from now, or who is going to hire you for contract work, or who has a conversation with somebody else about, oh, that guy so-and-so, he got a little bit out of control at the social hour at the conference the other night. When you do that, you, pardon the phrase, you shit where you eat, right? You soil the very environment you're trying to cultivate to be as healthy and successful as you possibly can. So it's just one of those throwaway things I heard once, but I see it a lot. I see folks who don't heed that advice too often in the professional world.
It might not be pretty, but that kind of manure doesn't grow good things from it. And so, therefore, it is good, sage advice.
And if you don't follow it, crappy things happen. It stinks. You're flushing your career down the.
Too much. Too much.
Too many dad joke puns. That is what I bring to our podcast experience, folks. And
only
just,
that.
Just that. That's it. Yeah. Some 80s hairband references and the occasional dad joke pun. All right, that's what you're signing up for, Boss Heroes, with your listening time. But I will tell you this, Alyssa, just to wrap this part up. That'll probably be one of the first pieces of dad wisdom that I impart to my kids when they get a little bit older too. If they want to do something, be something, accomplish something, if they want to be the starting shortstop on the high school baseball team, that's advice to heed. If they want to get a certain kind of college acceptance, that's advice to heed. It is generational, it is timeless, and it's important, I think, for professionals at all levels to abide by.
Indeed. Absolutely.
All right, folks, remember, this is your show, and we want to hear from you. You can email us at bossbetternow@gmail.com. In fact, we'd love for you to actually be on the show. What's the best piece of professional career advice you've ever been given? Drop a comment at that email address, or hop over to our Boss Better Now Facebook page and tell us about it there, or pop open that Voice Memos app on your smartphone, record the best piece of professional advice you've ever been given, and send it to us. We may play you live on the podcast. And if we do that, I might even send you some really cool Boss Better swag. I have no hesitation about bribing your participation with
Who doesn't love swag?
Giveaways. Yes, we are swag masters here. All right, folks, and that ends our Camaraderie Question of the Week.